The family welcomed a small, purebred kitten into their home. Adjusting to the new environment and its occupants took considerable time for the little gray bundle of joy. However, no one mistreated him. Instead, they showered him with care and affection, feeding him well and petting him gently. Gradually, the kitten began to acclimate, even forming friendships with older cats. It grew fond of its owners, cherishing the bond they shared. Yet, unexpectedly, a disruptive event occurred without any prior warning. On a particular day, a woman arrived with a small child in a stroller. The child's loud cries filled the air, leaving the kitten bewildered. As the adults engaged in conversation, the curious kitten ventured into the stroller, seeking to understand the source of the commotion. Upon encountering the child, it attempted to sniff and familiarize itself, only to be met with the child's fearful screams. Startled, the kitten swiftly retreated from the stroller. With women rushing to tend to the distressed child, the perplexed animal observed from a distance, unable to comprehend the unfolding situation. Tensions escalated as the child's mother and the owner exchanged heated words, adding to the confusion. So they hadn't shouted at him yet. He hadn't done anything. Why was this happening to him? The kitten was driven into a cold cellar, locked, and left there until the morning. The child's mother advised them to give away the cat, as they would also have a child, and animals only carry dirt, and it is not known what will come to their minds. The owner thought about it and, after listening to her friend, immediately called her friends to pick up the cat. In the morning, he woke up from the creaking of the door. The woman took him in her arms. He thought that they would feed him and cuddle him, but instead, they put him in a carrier and carried him outside. He screamed and cried in someone else's car. Some rude voice shouted, telling him to shut up. Soon the car stopped, and in front of him was another house, dogs barking loudly and terribly. A girl came out to meet him and, looking at him, snorted with displeasure. A better one could have been found and retired into the house. The kitten was thrown out of the carrier. He was crying and looking for somewhere to hide. The man who brought him took the animal by the scruff of the neck, looked with disgust at its muzzle, and still brought it into the house. The kitten cautiously hid around the house, which the new owners didn't like. They wanted to watch him play. Otherwise, why would they need him? Closer to night, the owner went outside to let the dogs off the chain so that they could walk around the house. At that time, the kitten was hiding under a cabinet near the front door and, together with the man, quietly ran out into the yard. Not attaching any importance to the absence of the animal, the owner let the dogs go and went into the house. The kitten jumped under the door and threw itself at the handle, but no one came out. He was too small, and they simply couldn't hear him, but the dogs definitely sniffed his scent. Noticing a huge dog standing very close, the baby froze. He fluffed up and hissed, hoping to scare the enemy. And in truth, the dog stopped, and the kitten rushed as fast as it could. A loud bark was heard throughout the area, and not one, but two dogs rushed after him. There was nowhere to climb, so he circled around the yard. The angry owner ran out to hear the noise. His scream could not stop the dogs, but distracted the kitten, and one of the dogs grabbed it. A woman came out at this noise. Having pulled the poor animal out of the dog's mouth, they examined it, and the man told his wife that he was not a tenant, but she was disgusted by the picture and went into the house. Then the owner decided that he should be left to die somewhere else. The kitten mewed pitifully. He was in unbearable pain. He expected someone to help him, but instead, his owner threw him out in a nearby park. It was very cold, but the kitten did not feel it. It was too painful for him. He could not get up, and now he could only die on the cold ground. A young man named Alexei walked through the park in the morning, hurrying to work. He didn't look closely, but he saw a gray spot under one of the trees and decided to take a closer look. Imagine his surprise and fear when he saw a small, defenseless body with already frozen blood. The kitten was breathing with difficulty. His limbs did not move, but he smelled the scent of a person. The man saw that the kitten would most likely die, but he could not pass by. Alexei immediately named the baby Vasily and hurried home with him. There he was met by his wife and daughter. They began to gradually warm him up and wash his wounds. At first, the baby had problems feeding from a bottle, but the will to live could not be taken away from him. He clung to the pacifier with all his might. There were no veterinary clinics nearby, and the closest one could only be seen in 2 days. The kitten felt warmth not only physically but also emotionally. These people emanated kindness and affection. They didn't leave his side. They kept watch, looked at him with tears in their eyes and were afraid to see him fall asleep and not wake up. 2 days passed in such trembling emotions. He was taken to the hospital. Everyone was very afraid of how he would survive the trip, but Vasily didn't even squeak. He just whined quietly. Finally, they arrived. The doctor was briefly told the story and shown the kitten. The doctor's heart sank. He sees sick animals every day, but this story and the sight of the animal could not help but echo pain in his heart. He carried him for diagnostics, carefully examining the wounds. The doctor was increasingly surprised that this baby was still alive and could fight death. Upon examination, it was discovered that the kitten, now named Vasily, suffered from a cold, nerve damage, and lacerations. Fortunately, his internal organs remained unharmed, with the injuries predominantly affecting his muscles and ligaments. The prognosis was daunting. Vasily required intricate reconstruction, an expensive and uncertain endeavor. Undeterred, the owners resolved to spare no effort in saving him. Vasily was swiftly transferred to a prestigious clinic where he underwent multiple surgeries to repair his muscles and stitch up his wounds. As the treatments progressed, hope began to flicker. Initially, it appeared that their efforts might be in vain, but gradually, signs of life returned to Vasily. He regained his appetite, his eyes regained their sparkle, and his wounds started to heal noticeably. Happiness radiated through Vasily as he thrived under their care, yet a lingering fear haunted him. Would he be abandoned, or would he remain with his newfound saviors? Thankfully, Alexei and his family made a solemn vow never to part with Vasily. Thus, he now resides contentedly with his devoted owners, cherished and loved with all his heart. What do you think of this story? Let us know in the comments section. I hope you like it. Please give it a thumbs up and share it with your loved ones. Also subscribe and press the bell icon to never miss the update from our channel. Thank you.